Mehul, I think we can start at 7:03, and we have about 60 people already.
Okay. All right. So I'll start. First of all, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in today for this event. It's Sunday evening. I know a lot of people would have a lot of other plans, but the fact that you are here means that you want to change something in your life and change it for good. So I'm going to start with this little presentation which I made. It's a small one. I want to keep a lot of time for Q&A just to get to know everyone, what they're thinking and what are the common questions. So I'm just going to wrap it up quickly, just give you an essence of what CodeDAM is, what we'll be doing in this accelerator, and why this is different from the typical mainstream sources of learning. Right, I'm sure Harish and Shreyansh would have given you a context of what we'll be doing in the accelerator as a whole, but I would want to have just my perspective on this as well quickly. So this is a front-end web developer accelerator in partnership with Clinify. So you all are from Clinify, and what we're going to be doing in this accelerator is focus mainly on front-end based technologies. Front-end is basically web front-end, which stands for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, these 4 core fundamental technologies and the ecosystem around them. So before we get into the material of what we'll be discussing and what the platform is, how it differs, I'm just going to quickly introduce myself. I'm also from BITSQA, same campus as Shreyansh and Harish. I'm a full stack developer. I am Apple WWDC 19 Scholar, which is the last time Apple invited scholars to San Francisco for their conference. Past 2 years have been just this year, and past year has been just online. So let's hope once COVID is over, they will resume that. I'm also listed in Google, Microsoft, Sony, ESET Hall of Fame for reporting security vulnerabilities in their system. As a kid, I used to just tinker around with a lot of things and try to find out how they can be broken. So I never really did an internship in Google and Microsoft, but was able to break a few products which their interns made, probably. I'm also the founder of CodeDAM, the YouTube channel, and the CodeDAM platform as well, which we'll be using in this accelerator a lot. It has got 150K subscribers on YouTube, 20 million plus views. And on the platform itself, there are roughly about 30,000 people registered and learning from CodeDAM monthly. 5-year freelancer experience. I freelanced a lot in terms of building PHP projects, building MySQL database front-end, back-end projects, and a lot of broken experience here and there taught me how industry code looks and works like, and how do you work with somebody else's code. So a lot of my learning has been from there as well. I'm also an author writer on various blog publications. I have wrote a couple of books on JavaScript and React, which we will be discussing in this accelerator. So there's that. You can look up on Amazon for those couple of books. So let's start with a very common question. Why not YouTube? Or why not, I'm just including YouTube or cheap resources as well in terms of just getting a pirated copy of Udemy or torrent downloading it. You all know that, and you all know that still not a lot of people were able to become great developers, even though they had so much resources. So let's discuss briefly why not YouTube and why not all these other resources. So what I like to think of programming is like integration, right? I'm not sure if how many people are here from science background or not, but more or less you would have heard about integration topic in mathematics in class 11th and 12th. And if you are from science background and if you have done that topic, you would realize that you can learn about it all day, but you are never really cracking any question or any JEE mains or advanced level question if you're not practicing your ass off, right? You have to practice so much. You have to practice a lot of types of different questions, a lot of variants of questions. And then somehow you develop that muscle memory, you develop that experience, which leads you to crack a new question, even when you have not really seen it before. So programming is pretty much like that in a lot of sense, that you can learn about a lot of things online, you can watch a lot of content, but unless you're doing it yourself, unless you are building projects, unless you are, just not even for sake of getting a job or internship or building a resume, if you just had infinite time and if you just had one task to learn coding, to learn how to program, you could never really do it just by passive watching video content or reading blog posts. You have to get into the field. You have to create things yourself. You have to be into the uncomfortable zone. That's where the learning happens in programming, and I'm sure a lot of you will be able to relate it, similar to how learning happens when you were preparing for some difficult topics like integration, differentiation in class 11, 12. So it's a similar thing. Videos are so 2015, and let me tell you what I mean by this. Videos become mainstream when YouTube was launched back in 2005, 2006. That was the time where people started discovering that you can deliver so much more information, so much more content if you just create a video out of it, right? It has been growing ever since, but videos is not the best way to deliver programming knowledge. And let me tell you why that is. We have, if you are a developer in 2006, you are still using videos for learning to code and blog posts and passive mediums. And even in 2021, this is the same mainstream approach which people take. They will probably take up a Udemy course, they'll take up a YouTube playlist, they'll start watching it. This is fine, but again, like I said, this is just passive learning. Videos offload the practice aspect to you. That means, hey, I'm an instructor, I'm just telling you, you have to do this. We can do this way, we can do this that way. But they don't really tell you what you have to do in the immediate next 5 minutes. They don't tell you when you have to do it. They don't tell you what constraints you have. And this is especially true when you're learning some real world technology. Like if you're learning data structures and algorithms, sure, you can have a bunch of questions at your disposal that you have to complete. But what about if you're learning React, right? I've worked with so many students and so many people who just finish up a React playlist, a React course, and then they sit down to create their own project, and they don't even know where to start, right? And this is very real. This happens to a lot of people. This happens all the time. So the practice aspect comes with videos in the sense that if you truly want to learn just from video content itself, if you truly want to learn just from YouTube also, this is a general advice. Always try to follow the instructor, what they are doing in the video one-on-one, when they are doing it, and try to do that yourself. Because if you wait till the end, if you wait for the course to complete, you will realize that you have, first of all, lost a lot of information because you never really practiced it yourself along the way. And second of all, you have nothing to show up for, right? You might say that, hey, I have learned the concept. Basically, videos would have tricked you that you understood something. It's easy to just watch a bunch of videos about React or HTML or CSS or JavaScript and assume that you know that topic. But unless you're developing something with it, unless you're debugging, reverse engineering something with the things you have learned, you have not understood it. Trust me. This happens all the time with new and seasoned developers alike. If you're watching something, that does not mean you have understood it. You have to be able to experiment with it. You have to understand those gray areas of what the instructor has not covered in the videos or blog post or whatever it is. And you can only do that when you're practicing it by yourself in the field. So another reason why I don't really recommend beginners who want to learn something quickly, in the sense you want to not really waste a lot of time, is that online content is highly fragmented. Now, let me back this up, what I mean by this. Let's say you want to learn JavaScript, right? It's very easy today. You can go to YouTube, you can search for JavaScript video. You're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of video content. Even my channel has an 8-hour video on learning JavaScript. But that's it. I mean, what do you do next? Or what was the prerequisite for that? Did you even need it? Did you even need to learn JavaScript at that point in your life? You don't have answers to these questions. What do you learn next after JavaScript? React, Angular, Material UI, backend? Do you learn about APIs? Do you learn about Next.js? When do you shift to TypeScript? So these are so many open-ended questions, and especially with a field as broad as web, where you have so many technologies to choose from, the whole industry, the whole online content for programming is very fragmented, right? If you ask somebody else, they'll say, oh, just go ahead and learn this. If you ask someone else, they'll say, go ahead and learn that. whatever suits them, right? In terms of, what they think the next step is. So this is also one problem for people who not just want a singular course or a singular concept to be learned. I mean, if you just want to learn Redis, for example, you can go ahead and buy a course. That's not a problem. But if you want to become a backend developer, that's a different question, right? Backend developer is not just Node. Backend developer is not just Redis. Backend developer is not just working with EC2 servers on cloud. Backend developer is not just setting up Nginx instances and configuring that. It is a mix of a lot of these things, right? There are a lot of moving parts which need to be fixed together, which need to be inside your mind if you want to call yourself a backend developer. And not even just call yourself, if you truly want to work and deliver value as a backend developer to a company, to an organization, heck, even your own projects, right? You can probably fake your work in internships and jobs, but you cannot really fake it in your own projects. You have to work yourself. So figuring out those previous steps and next steps is super duper difficult in terms of online content, and especially in online free content, right? So that's one big challenge I also see for a lot of people who are trying to learn industry level skill sets like front end, back end, full stack, these things. Now, if you have 6 to 8 years, and I'll just share my story here, I never really bought any Udemy course, right? Let's get this clear. And I learned exclusively through YouTube. I learned exclusively through documentation. I learned exclusively through free resources online. And I'm not afraid to admit that. But let's be clear, it took me 8 years of learning. I started when I was in class 7th, right? And to be honest, I did not even know about these paid resources at that point. It took me 6, 8, 9 years of time to arrive where I am. If you have that amount of time, I would really recommend that if you want to spend it, just go ahead and figure out your own journey. You might discover beautiful things. You might discover a lot of different perspective and other ways to learn. But what I have seen is that if you're watching this live stream, if you're part of this, you probably are a college student or school student or someone who wants to get on track quick, right? If you don't want to spend a lot of years in terms of figuring out your journey on your own, it is probably a good idea to use a mentor. It is probably a good idea to use someone who has been through that journey and let them guide you, right? I would have, personally, I would have taken help from anyone whom I can find on Facebook, who was ahead of me for 5 years, right? I have a few friends whom I consulted all the time on Facebook when I was in class 7th, 8th, that time. So that really helped. Even that allowed me to chip away a couple of years, right? But if I had a dedicated sort of path or a dedicated sort of things that, hey, you don't really necessarily need to do PHP and MySQL. If you know about front end, if you know about JavaScript, you can just directly switch to Node.js, right? Or, once you have done Node.js, the next best thing you can do is learning how to work with databases, because now you have a complete solution. So things like these internal insights of knowledge and building that experience, that comes with time. And no matter what resource you refer, no matter what where you are studying from, unless you have someone who is guiding according to your problems, your specific needs, it is probably difficult to have a generic advice and just apply it on yourself. So like I said, if you have a lot of time, figure out your way. If not, then I would say pick up someone who is 5 years, 10 years ahead of you, and then try to learn, try to see what they have done good, and try to minimize your time to get there. That's the framework. Now, what about coding bootcamps? Coding bootcamps is one of those ways which you can achieve, that thing, because you will see that you will have a bunch of folks who will be 5 to 10 years ahead of you in terms of delivering your knowledge. But the only problem is that they cost a lot, right? And there's a good reason for this, because they are investing a lot of human hours into you, right? And they're investing a lot of infrastructure, maybe like physical classes also before COVID and all that stuff. Plus, you also spend a lot of time in traveling back and all that stuff. But the punchline is that they cost a lot, right? And as a person who probably not even wants to become a very great developer and just wants to explore the field, for example, for a couple of months or a couple of years at most, this is a ridiculous amount of money to pay for, right? So what if we are able to combine the best of both worlds? The first one is the practicality of coding bootcamps, but the low price of those resources which are available on internet. So that's what I'm trying to build with CodeDam. I am a self-learner. I learned everything through, like I mentioned, through all these resources which I found on internet. And then a couple of years back, I figured out that the missing piece of learning to code in today's world is practicality, in the sense that nobody is teaching you to practice along the way. Everybody is teaching you the topic, right? And that missing part, that missing practice concept is what we are trying to bridge at CodeDam, and is what we are trying to bridge at this accelerator program as well. So we're going to be coming to 60-day accelerator program in a while, but that accelerator part is mostly powered by CodeDam's infrastructure. So what are we doing? We are making learning to code interactive, like it should be. So you remember, like, when you were in school, you would have those computer labs where you would actually sit down and do something. And, if your school was good, they would actually give you stuff to do. Otherwise, it was just a time pass, 1 hour. But the idea is that you can only learn to code when you're doing it. And I cannot emphasize on this enough. This is the raw fundamental, first principle fact, if you want to say it. If you want to learn to code, you have to be practicing it when you're learning it, or shortly after you have learned a particular thing. You cannot binge watch a YouTube playlist, a Udemy course, a CodeDam course. You cannot binge watch it and expect that you know it. Therefore, we at CodeDam are trying to mix the interactivity with the actual knowledge that is delivered. And it should have always been like this, but the advancements in technologies, the advancement in cloud tech supports it now, right? It was not possible in 2010. It was not possible in 2015, even, a little bit in 2015 maybe, but definitely possible in 2021. And there are technical reasons why this interactivity was not possible, because, if I go into a little bit of technicality, because there was no way to containerize a given user's environment, right? You cannot really say that, hey, like I'm seeing a bunch of people here, hey, Ayush, let's go ahead and create a small space for you on the cloud itself, which is your own computer, but it is hosted on the cloud and inside a browser. This was just not possible 10 years back, but it is now. And we will be seeing an industry shift, not only by CodeDam, but a lot of other places as well. So this is how a typical course on CodeDam looks like. This is your week 5 module, actually, Advanced Practical JavaScript. This is actually covered in this accelerator, but this looks like a regular course, right? Unless you enroll in this course. The first thing you will see if you enroll in this course is you'll see that this is divided into a bunch of sections, which consist of your typical videos, right? It might seem that these are just videos and this guy is just glorifying the video experience. But when you see that once a video is completed or once a concept is completed, you move on to something known as a lab, right? And the lab is basically a browser-based environment. Here's just a very quick preview of how this works. So lab is a browser-based environment where you actually have to practice what you have learned in the last video or in the last bunch of videos. And this is the place where you cannot fake the knowledge, right? This is the place, if you're passing these tests, I definitely know that you understood, and you also definitely know that you understood the concept, because you cannot fake this. There is no way to fake information. There's no way to fake that you did something. So this is how CodeDam works, in the sense, this is like just a very simple example, but when we are developing, for example, UIs or React projects, you will have actual tasks to perform. Create this hook, perform this API call. Your UI should look like this. You have to create a project which satisfies these constraints. So this is the missing piece in today's coding information, where we do not let people practice and we do not let people code along with the instructor and practice the concept once it is delivered. So if you're completing this course, chances are, there are very high chances that if you're done with this course, you actually understand each and every single thing in the course. And that's all that matters when you're trying to learn to code. Here's another quick example. If you're developing an HTML, let's say HTML and CSS and JavaScript projects, you have a bunch of challenges, you have a certain constraints to complete. And just to divert your attention to this bottom right of the screen, you see this little terminal. This is an actual, like I said, the space, the actual cloud space which you will get on the cloud, right? So this is your own space, your own server is running, you're having a browser output, you have certain challenges to complete, certain tasks to complete. And these are little tasks which you have to do. So if you do a single task also, if it works, if a bunch of tasks works, you will get the correct, green, red representation of that. So this is like the hands-on preview of how CodeDam learning would look like to you in this accelerator program as well. And this is like one of the React projects. I think this is called React Birthday Reminder. So we will have a bunch of projects which you have to build like this within the browser interface and test it against certain constraints so that you understand what you're building and you have a certain path to follow. And just to tell you one more thing, if you probably are looking for a job or an internship, if you are going for a medium to large size company, right, chances are that they would never really allow you to ship code on production unless you have written test cases for them. And most likely you will be writing the code, somebody else would be writing the test cases, right? That this functionality should work this way, this functionality should work this way. So the way it happens on CodeDam is we have already written test for you in the sense that there should be a clear all button. Initially, all records should be visible. So we have constraints set for you. You have to make sure that you are writing the correct code. And because there could be multiple ways when you're trying to code, there could be multiple ways to solve a problem, especially with web development. It's not DSA, it's not just input output comparing and just calling it a day. If you have multiple solutions, we just focus on what the outcome is, not the how of what you're doing it, right? The how is being taught in the videos and the what is being tested in these practice labs. So just to come to the accelerator now real quick, the accelerator program, I'm sure you have been conveyed a bunch of information, but just to summarize it, we will be learning about starting from the basics of HTML, basics of web development. Basically, you don't really need to have a very strong grip on anything. Starting from basics of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and the ecosystem around it. What do we mean by ecosystem? For example, it's easy to say JavaScript, but there could be a lot of things going around inside JavaScript, right? There's a theoretical part, how JavaScript works under the hood, for example, V8 engine and how it boils down to C++, how functions are implemented in JavaScript, in C++. I'm not really talking about just JavaScript. For example, take a look at CSS, how CSS animations work, how the box model works, how to make responsive websites, how to work with media queries, stuff like this, right? And with React, obviously, there is so much you can possibly explore, but I'm going to limit your universe so that you're learning only the things which are relevant in 2021. Now, you can go ahead and learn class-based components, definitely. But if you're learning React today, I would highly recommend you to spend 90% of your time on functional components and 4-5% of your time on class-based components. And the reason for even 4-5% is that in case if you had to maintain a legacy code base, or in case you have to implement something like error boundaries, which is only available on React class-based components. So we're going to be covering all of this, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React, and their ecosystem, Material UI, Tailwind CSS, React query for data fetching, and all the best practices with a daily breakdown of the curriculum. So we will have a Google Doc. I think I have that screenshot here. Yeah. So this is like the March accelerator batch, which is also a front-end accelerator, which started back a month back. And this is how the doc would look like at the moment, although you have CodeDam website at your disposal as well. But when we are in a small WhatsApp group, we will be discussing these things on a daily breakdown basis, right? We'll start from HTTP fundamentals. Heck, I don't even want to start with HTML and CSS. Why not just go ahead and start with how the internet even works when you're writing google.com, what happens? Because as a front-end developer, you at some point will be interacting with backend APIs, right? You at some point will be integrating stuff. So you should understand what the HTTP protocol is fundamentally. And these are the few things which I really think a lot of people miss on. Another thing which a lot of courses and a lot of guides miss on is using Chrome dev tools. I'm sure that a lot of people who uh, are doing front-end web development even now just debug it on a hit and trial basis. Just console log a few things, see in the console, alert something, that's it. That works, but that is very inefficient, and you can increase your productivity 2 times, 5 times, even 10 times if you know how to work with your tools. So we'll cover that. We'll cover a lot of bunch of stuff like this in the accelerator. 60-day, 8-week roughly breakdown. We'll have this whole document delivered to you as you become the part of Accelerator. But this is just a quick preview from one of the previous ones. Again, an important thing to mention here is that this will be powered by community-based learning, in the sense that it's not, I'll just send you this documentation, this document and call it a day. We will have a small WhatsApp-based group. You will also be a part of Discord community, Discord server with large number of people later on of CodeDam, which will allow you to discuss your progress, which encourages you to discuss your progress, discuss if you're stuck, discussing how to get unstuck. We'll also cover those things, because getting unstuck is a very great skill you can have as a developer. So you can only do that if you're part of community and if you're learning with a lot of other people who are also doing the same stuff. So WhatsApp community, Discord community, and I will be part of both of them, helping you out with your doubts, anything you have, and hopefully other people as well, as they keep on upskilling and learning. This will also be powered by Zoom live sessions, in the sense that we will meet up for Zoom live sessions. If you have any specific or generic doubt, even, I just had a live call yesterday with one of the running accelerator batches, and people had that experience to share, right? How they're learning right now, where they are at the moment, and what next steps they should take. For example, people discuss, hey, once the 60 days over, what should we do? Should we move to backend, or should we just keep on focusing on front end? These generic questions, right? And I'll be there. Other people will be there. You will be joined with a bunch of other people from the accelerator itself. So it's an exclusive accelerator event. You don't really necessarily would be, just spending a lot of time with people you don't know, but all the time with people you do know. So we'll be doing that weekly on the basic plan. I think that's how the plan works. But Zoom and live interactions will be there in the accelerator program as well. And of course, this will be powered by CodeDam's hands-on infrastructure. So if you're part of this, you have access to not only just 1 or 2 courses on the platform, but every single one of them you can see. If you go to codedam.com, browse a bunch of courses, learning paths, even backend, although we won't really cover backend in the 60-day. But if you are curious in the sense that you want to explore backend as well, you can go a little beyond the route which we have described. But this will be powered by CodeDam's hands-on infrastructure all the way along. And I hope you would have as much fun as I had creating CodeDam as a whole, as a platform. But you still need to remember these few points, right? You still need to work hard. There is no substitute for this, in the sense, sure, CodeDam and practical experience and me helping you and the community will massively reduce the time it will take you to be a front-end developer or learn something, but you still need to work hard. Let's get that straight, right? It's not a magic pill which you just purchase it for whatever amount it is, and then you are a front-end developer. That's not how it works. If somebody's saying that, they're just probably trying to sell you super bad thing. You still need to be hungry, in the sense that I recommend people to have a motive before they join something, right? What's your why? Why are you even in this Zoom call? Why are you doing this? You have to figure out a little bit on your why. It could be, making some extra bucks on the side of your college. It could be like getting to an internship. It could be like upskilling yourself for your own personal projects. But you need to be hungry for your why. You need to be consistent. That goes without saying. You need to have a desire to become a great developer, because there will be times when you will be stuck. There will be times when you'll spend a lot of hours debugging something stupid only to realize that it was a very stupid thing and you could have saved hours. But trust me, those things, those moments, those hours which you wasted are the building blocks of your of you becoming a great developer. Now, in a retrospect, in a hindsight, when I just go ahead and see uh, all the time which I wasted on projects which I never really published on internet, or which I was just stuck with, those were some of the best projects which taught me a lot of things. So yeah, I mean, you should be comfortable with getting stuck and realize that it is a part of process, not the end of world. So these are a few things which I need you to remember. And yeah, I hope this will be a one-of-the-kind experience for you as well as for me, not only just because this is not a typical accelerator in the sense it is not a typical video-based course or a live course accelerator, but something which is innovative in the sense that Codam as a platform, as a full-featured web product, is building something which has never been done before, creating those integrated learning type of courses and sharing it with you across a small community of WhatsApp people and Discord people. So yeah, I think that's mostly it from my side, and I would love to take Q&A now, just to get to know what people are thinking and answer anything specific if I can.
Thanks, Mehul. Thanks for the demo. Guys, we have opened up the chat. You can also unmute yourself and ask a question if you wish to. But Mehul will be taking a look at the chat and will be clearing any questions you have about the course, what's going to be taught, and anything, to be honest.
Sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, sir. My name is Akash. I'm from Chennai.
Hi, Akash. How are you?
I'm new to this. I just saw your live program in YouTube and just got a link below and I joined in. I'm very new to web development, but even though I just learned HTML and CSS, and you're just talking about React.js. So what are the next further steps for me to come till React.js?
So you're asking about, you already know HTML and CSS and now you want to learn React?
Yes. Just self-learning. I didn't go to any kind of academy since there is a pandemic around me and I'm able to go. It's quite common for everyone right now.
So yeah, I think you already answered your question in the sense that because you already know HTML and CSS, and JavaScript, hopefully the next obvious step is to jump on a framework of some sort. So React is a good choice. On Codam, you can pick up the React Mastery Learning Path, or in this accelerator, we will be covering React as well. So there's that. I think, yeah, just give it some time, spend some time with React, see if you like it or not, because there are just 2-3 major players in the framework world right now: React, Angular, and Vue. And I mostly recommend people to go with either React or Vue. Angular is a bit too much if you're new to web development. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Fine. Do you have any official website of yours so that I can find it? I can learn from you. Do you have any courses?
It's codam.com.
Okay, thank you.
Harish, if you can just take up questions which you want from the chat, because I think there are a lot of questions.
Yeah, so someone's asking, how will these projects sort of help you in internships?
So you can use them as your portfolio projects if you want, but I would recommend be a little bit more creative in the sense and use your knowledge to build something which you always wanted to build, right? I recommend people, let's say if you're, I showed you a React birthday reminder application, right? Go one step ahead and customize it to have a React birthday reminder with a countdown backed by a local storage application where you are storing birthdays of people inside browser local storage as well, right? Just build on top of these things, create a portfolio, publish it on GitHub, get a public URL for your project, create your resume, and this is something you can show on your resume for your internships. That's how I would do it. Does that make sense?
Yep, thank you for that. I'll just pick up another question. Okay, someone's asking, how is it better than learning it yourself? I think you've answered it before as well. Like having a mentor always accelerates your journey. I think Mehul can tell you how building real challenges and solving it can.
I mean, I'm all in for learning it yourself, right? I am the example of someone who learned by myself, but just to get the facts straight, it takes you time. It takes you time because you have to go ahead and, explore a lot of dead ends, in the sense that, oh, this tech will not be working anymore. So if you have the time on your hand, I would definitely recommend go ahead and learn yourself. If you are somebody who's still in class 8, class 7, and, does not really have any sort of requirement as such for learning, and you're just doing it out of fun, you can go ahead and take your own journey. So that's all I want to say.
Got it. Siddharth is asking, what kind of projects will we be building in this course?
So we will be building mostly kind of, a small widget here and a small concept there, conceptual based projects in the course itself. But by the end of the course, we'll be building full-fledged UI based projects, which will focus more on the UI part, not on the backend related part. So for example, like I showed you, one of the example is React Timer, React Birthday Reminder. We will have a few UIs of chat-based application, a few UIs of landing pages, which are very popular, a few UI examples of building your own personal portfolio. So things like these will be there. But creativity is your own thing. If you want to build anything else, if you have any idea, feel free to discuss it with the cohort, and maybe a bunch of you can pair program together and build that.
Okay, someone is asking, how important is web development? Is it overrated? So guys, let me just tell you right now, almost every startup that's coming up, all those big startups that you see on TV or on the newspaper, every single company that is coming up requires web developers, either front end and back end. And learning it on your own, like Mehul said, can take a lot of time, 6 years, 7 years. You have to go through a lot of research materials. But if you have placements coming up, or if you want an internship really quick, then this 60-day course is probably one of your best shot, and it is extremely affordable as well. So to answer your question, Prathamesh, it's definitely not overrated. It is extremely essential if you are interested in coding, web dev, and front-end React.
Just to add on that,
Yeah.
the reason everyone is talking about web development is because the entry bar is very low right now. You just have to learn a bunch of technologies, and you can call yourself a front-end developer. But trust me, if you go ahead and take a look at industry right now, you will see so many companies want web developers, and so many people are there who call themselves web developers. So why the demand and supply both are high, but they are not able to neutralize each other? And the reason for that is that web development, although has a low entry bar, but has a high bar for being good, being called as good developer, right? So there you have 95% people who are okay, who are beginner, or who are kind of, they can create something, but only a few people can understand the depths of what they're doing and can understand what they're working on, and that makes all the difference.
Exactly. And Nitin asked, what are the prerequisites of this course? Let me just tell you, there are no prerequisites, right? You can be a complete beginner, but you need to have dedication, right? It is important that you dedicate time every single day to practice. It's like learning how to play a sport, right? Someone can teach you how to play, someone can teach you all the rules, but unless you practice, you can't become better at it, right? So this course will give Mehul as your mentor, as your guide. And Mehul is someone who has already been there and done everything in relative front end. So I think there is definitely no prerequisites to answer your question, Nitin. And you just need to be dedicated and hardworking.
And yeah, just to add a few sentences on that. Yeah. 60-day is more of a constraint for you guys to maximize your productivity, right? It will take 45 for some, it might take 90 for others, but this is one of my heuristics which I came up with, is that if you're trying to maximize every single day's output, you will have a massive difference from day 0, between day 0 and day 60. So that's what matters, right? Your life is long. You're not gonna die in the next 60 days, hopefully. So you will you will have time to build up on top of whatever you have learned. But the delta of 60 days, we want that to be huge in terms of the previous 60 days which you spent in.
Also, someone's asking the difference between the basic and the advanced plan. So on the basic plan, which costs 1900, super cheap, you'll get access to all the live trainings. You'll get access to the CodeDam platform itself. So you can build, actually code stuff and learn. And on top of that, in the advanced plan, you'll get one-on-one calls with Mehul. So on the basic call, you'll be on the basic plan, you'll be on a call with everyone. So everyone will be asking their questions. But if you want something that's more personalized, wherein you want to directly interact with Mehul, you can opt for the advanced plan.
Someone has also asked how much daily time are we supposed to put in and what are the timings of the live classes?
So like I said, some people are quick to grasp new concepts, right? If you are that person or if you're not. If you are that person who is able to understand a few things quickly, then you might need to spend relatively less time on learning and relatively more time on building stuff. If you're somebody who takes a little bit more time, there is no hard and fast and black and white answer to this, that you have to spend 3 hours, you have to spend 4 hours, and you will be good. You might spend 4 hours and still be bad, and you might spend just 2 hours and still be great in a cohort. So my go-to answer is that spend as much time as you can and try to enjoy the process while you're at it, right? Enjoying is necessary. If you're not enjoying it, figure out why that is the reason. Ask us in the cohort, discuss it with people. But if you're enjoying it, try to spend as much time as you can, whatever amount of time that works for you. Because the more time you spend with tech, the more experienced you become over the time.
And Mehul, live classes will be on weekends, right?
Weekends, yeah.
Yep. So live classes will be every Saturday, Sunday with Mehul. And it'll be a live class just like this, where he'll be solving doubts, teaching you important concepts and other stuff like that. And again, guys, there is no prerequisite to this course. Rohit, you asked if it's necessary to learn Java or HTML before joining this course. No, it's not. You will be taught that in course.
Someone has also asked how many people will be there in the batch.
Guys, we'll try to keep the batch of an appropriate size so that everyone gets personalized attention. So don't worry, it wouldn't happen that you'll get lost in the crowd or something. We'll make sure that everyone has enough access to Mehul and every single doubt of yours gets cleared and you get personalized attention. So we'll make sure the batch size remains the same.
Yep.
Sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
May I?
Go ahead.
I just saw your website now and there is an enroll button. You're just offering all the courses. If I want a specific course, what can I do?
You can buy individual courses as well. If you're on the course page, you will see, a one-time purchase option for that.
I just saw all these things in cleanify.com. Is that your website? Is this website belongs to you guys?
We are working with Cleanify to bring this experience to you this time. So Fine. There's that.
So Cleanify is basically the platform where you can enroll for different courses. So one of the courses is Mehul's front-end accelerator course. But the platform you'll be using to learn front-end is on CodeDam. CodeDam.
Can you please pronounce it?
We'll put on the chat.
We'll put on the chat, yeah. Don't worry. Also, the last day for enrollment, it is 1 day before the classes start. And the classes will start on 17th, I think.
Yeah, it'll start from 17th of April.
So 16th April will be the last day, which is, I think, in 5 days. And we do have limited seats. So it's first come, first serve basis.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Ashwin, and I have like a decent amount of knowledge for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and now learning React now. But the thing is, I have used CodeDam before as well for some projects. But the thing is, I don't really have good eyes for my design. My design is really bad. Even though I know how the CSS properties and things work, but now the UI isn't much appealing. But when I used project from CodeDam, the CSS were already built. Like when I was using for React birthday reminder, the CSS was already written and it looked nice. So like, how will I be able to improve my design skills? And means I know how CSS works, but UI is not like that good enough.
Couple of points on this. The first point is that as a developer, not a lot of people talk about this, but you don't have to be a good designer. I'm not a good designer. I can code, but I am not a good designer. I take inspiration from other websites and other places, and you know, other people who have done designs. So if you want to be a developer, you should probably, like you said, you are already aware about CSS properties and everything. Just observe how other websites and how other products are using those properties to create good layouts. That's one way. Another way to go about is to make use of layout systems and CSS systems like Material UI, Tailwind CSS, because these frameworks actually come with a little bit of logged in values, which are good presets by default, right? I would say one thing which a lot of people do and I think should not do is focus a lot on their designing skills as a developer. If you're working with some medium to big size organization, you will see that you will probably get Sketch or Figma designs for yourself, which includes all the paddings and ratios and everything. So it's important that you understand how to create that design instead of just how to, imagine that in the first place. But yeah, if you want to learn about UI designing and aesthetics of UI, that's a completely different thing. That's not development. That's something else. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, like that's one more thing which I had to ask. Like, how often should we use these CSS libraries, or like should we write the whole thing by ourselves?
If you're learning, then write it by yourself, definitely. But if you're shipping to production, or if you're doing anything which is kind of serious in terms of project, or if you want to put that project on resume or anything, by all means use a predefined, well-defined layout system or a CSS framework, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Also, guys, from now on, we'll only be entertaining questions related to the course. Any questions which you guys want, that will be covered in the course, right? Mehul is not yet your mentor. If you want him to be a mentor, do sign up for the Accelerator course, and then you can ask him any sorts of questions you want.
Yep, I think we can take one last question and then wrap it up. Okay, Siddharth is asking, how will you grade the projects that are made? So do you have like a system to see how people perform in projects?
That's what the community is for, because grading and UI and in fact even code quality till some extent is subjective, right? Some people might like your design, some people might not. So that's what the community is for. You will share your work, you will share your projects, and we will help you review your code, and we will help you review your designs. There is no official star-based rating as such on Codedam, but that is definitely something interesting and could be possibly implemented in near future.
Great, I guess that's it. Also, people who are asking about future batches, we aren't really sure. We haven't planned it out yet. Thank you so much, Mehul, for coming in. And if you guys have any other questions, you can ask it on the WhatsApp group that you're part of. If you aren't part of the group, I'll just share the link here. And thanks a lot for coming in. You can ask your questions over there and do sign up. We have shared the link for the sign up form in the chat. I'm sharing it again. So you can go there, sign up, and questions can be asked on the WhatsApp group. Thank you. Thanks, Mehul.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Will you share your numbers there?
You cannot have his personal number. That's what you will get once you enroll.
I
for the
know
course.
you would say no numbers. Is that right?
Huh?
You would say no numbers to anyone.
Yeah, but there is a WhatsApp group that we have currently, and you can ask all your doubts on that WhatsApp group. So,
I don't have a group like that. Can you share the link with me?
The link is shared.
We'll
We'll share the link on this chat itself.
Just wait for a sec. I'll share it. Yeah, you can ask your doubts over here. I've shared the WhatsApp group link.
Mehul, I think we already got a few signups already. So guys, just want to make sure that you guys know this is first come, first serve. Once the seats are full, we will be shutting down admissions. And you guys will have to wait for the next batch if we do have it. So just wanted to let you guys know. I think that's
Thank
it
you,
for today.
everyone. Thank you, everyone here. Just got some informations, and I'm able to improve some priority knowledge from you guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
Harish, you want to end session?
Yeah, I'll just stay here for like 2 minutes for people who want to join the WhatsApp group. It's there in the chat, guys, so you can join in ASAP. And the registration link is given at the top, so you can sign up for the course there. Just go to the link. There'll be something called the Enroll Now button. Click on it, and it'll take you to the payment page.
Guys, I'll just bounce the call. I have another one.
Sure. Thanks, Mehul.
So thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and thank you, Shansh and Harish, for organizing this.
Sure, Mehul.
Anytime.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, sir. Hey.
Clinify meet will happen soon, probably next week or something. Yeah, it's this weekend, next Clinify meet.